To those who would say that man has arrived at wisdom through prudence, I often tell the story I read in the newspapers the day after a political assassination. 2 bombs were thrown. Only one exploded. The other was brought to the police commissioner perhaps 2 days later by a man who had found it and put it in his pocket. I first supposed that this reckless man did not believe that this piece of cast iron in the shape of a pine cone could explode at the slightest impact and turn a living body to shreds. And one must suppose that, but one must not explain this action only by ignorance. A chemist can be reckless too. I would rather say that man in solitude, and attentive above all to his actions, never arrives at imagining a fearsome event. And, to look closely, a healthy, vigorous and intact body cannot testify at all, by its affections, that the lion's claw can tear it apart, but on the contrary it naturally excludes such an image. Thus, danger would always be known too late, and experience would teach little. A thing worthy of note is that ceremony modifies the feelings of each person much more energetically. This comes from the fact that, in the ceremony, the actions are planned and easy, and that our body is primarily occupied with imitating the movements of others. We are all then bona fide tragedians. For example, fear is then directly communicated to us in the manner of a disease. The object, whatever it may be, even absent or invisible, receives from this fear an immeasurable power. One can understand thus that men who are very resolute in their actions are like children when they think of ghosts, goblins, and devils, although they only know them by stories. A story is much more powerful than the thing itself, by the common effervescence shared by the narrator and the crowd of listeners. I would go so far as to say that things do not know how to touch the mind of man. They do not pass that far. This animal has a mind armored against all experience. But the cry of a child, the sigh of a woman, the light breeze of a human gesture, all signs enter freely into the citadel. Even better, the armies of signs that fly from an assembly. Hence it happens that man believes less what he has seen than what he is told, which illuminates all our passions. But I only want to retain this, that the history of the sciences exposes without explaining, that man came to prudence through respect, and to science through religion. In other words, that our first knowledge, and the only ones that we naturally took seriously, are hearsay and not experience. The fear of God would therefore be the first of fears, and the model of all.